Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I am coming back at you with another Wargaming and Miniature video. In today's video, we got exciting footage from Nashcon 2022. I had just gotten back from Nashcon and started editing the video, and I did not like my initial opening video that I had made Friday in the car before we left to go to Nashville. So I decided to redo it, and that's what this is. So we've got some footage. Now, I do want to point out I'm disappointed with my footage in the fact that I was playing games, so I didn't really have the opportunity to go around to all the different tables in every session and film that for you. That wasn't my primary goal. My primary goal was to go down there, run a game on Saturday morning, but also Friday, Saturday, uh, play a bunch of games with some friends that I haven't seen in a long time and stuff like that. And so that was my primary goal. But I did get some footage of some of the tables. I did walk around. And then I'll probably jump back on here during editing to talk about some games that I played in and also the game that I ran. The game that I ran on Saturday morning, I did not record. I was too busy playing the game. At the end of the video, I'll show you some of the swag that I got, which is very little. I was a very good boy. I did not spend a lot of money trying to build up my wall of shame. I already have a big wall of shame, so I did not, uh, you know, buy a bunch of stuff that I didn't need, right? Okay, so, but I'll show you what I did get. Also, before we get started, there was an announcement on the front of the flyer, the program for the convention about Gavin Gossett. He was a, he was someone that I knew and enjoyed his company, and we shared a lot of time together. He, when I got out of the service the first time, because I've been in the service twice, and when I got out of the service the first time, I moved to Nashville, and that's where I met my wife. And in Nashville, he owned a store, and this, remember, is in the late 80s, because I got out of the Army the first time in 85, and I moved to Nashville, and he had a game store called Games Extraordinaire, and I frequented that store a lot. That's where I discovered Nashcon, and that's where I met a lot of these people that I game with even today. So we had a lot of good times back in Games Extraordinaire. When I joined the Army the second time with my wife, and we moved to Germany, we're actually in Berlin. When we were in Berlin, I put an order in for some Napoleonic figures. I remember this like it was yesterday. Uh, from Gavin, from Games Extraordinaire, and he had to box it up and ship it all the way to Germany and stuff like that. And that was for my Napoleon's Battles, 15 millimeter, like Old Glory minifig, stuff like that. So there was a note in the flyer that he had passed away in January. Now, for the last few years, we haven't really been close. I didn't have his phone number. We didn't communicate. We weren't considered, close friends or anything, but we knew each other. We liked each other. He communicated with me. When I had my own store here in Clarksville, he would come up and visit and see how the store was doing, and maybe give me some suggestions or ideas and stuff like that. And so I thought highly of him. And the last time I saw him was at the last Nashcon that I went to with Mason. This was 2 or 3 years ago, and he was running a bolt action Pegasus Bridge scenario. I tried to get into it. It was full. I couldn't get into it. It was all good, but that was the last time I had seen him. And then when I saw this note at the beginning of this flyer that he had passed away, it really struck me. It struck me right in the feels. I didn't break down and go, bawling in the corner of the room or whatever, but I was choked up. He was a good friend. I thought he was a good friend. Not a close friend, but he was a good friend. Okay, so let's go ahead and show you some of the tables and stuff like that from Friday, and then we'll talk about some other things that went on. Not sure if my Zoom is working. Okay, there we go. Looks kind of like a modern desert layout. These very well could be like bolt action type games. Nobody's playing just yet. Interesting. Oh, I love those buildings. I do love those buildings. Not so sure about that bridge, but I love those buildings.
Yeah, Sal, I'm thinking I'm going to have to hit you on the flank. You're on the flank. Sal, on the flank.
I think so. I think I've played that.
Just need a 3. 8 from a 5 plus
Wow, that's like a large scale. I'm talking about, that's a large scale bocage hedge. Maybe it's bigger than 28 millimeter, I would think, but maybe it's meant to be that big. Okay, after speaking to a couple of friends of mine that I haven't seen in years, decided to enter the main hall. I'm just going to take a pan view of the game hall, and then you get to take a look, see what's going on. This is also the dealer room.
Automatic -2 to the attacker die roll.
Looks like an aerodrome 2.0.
Always a -2. But then when we're hit, it's a 20% chance of fire.
There's that. So I'm starting to.
Okay, these look like 40 millimeter. Whoa, I'm zooming the wrong way. There we go. Got your dice tray.
I don't know, but this is, I have these guys paint them up at BMF 121.
Oh, you're fine.
I don't want somewhere in
This might be the volley and bayonet rules. Nice.
Are you staying here, Doug?
No, I'm over.
But the infantry, it stays with them. Right. So, now,
Looks pretty desolate. Looks like Brigade Fire and Fury.
And you would do like a.
Looks like Wake Island. Am I right on that? Yeah, that looks like Wake Island. But I'm seeing a couple of boats. It's obviously downscaled or scaled. Nice. Looks like this dealer over here is Closed Shop, Miniature Building Authority. All their miniatures. Guys selling a lot of board games.
Yeah.
Looks like Blood Red Skies. Korea. Saw some jets. Oh, look at that. Looks like India. Blood and Steel. Okay. Another closed dealer. Selling a lot of Games Workshop stuff, which I'm going to pick up something tomorrow. It'll be part of my bag of shame.
They get up, it's a routine.
Wings of Glory.
Oh.
Looks like we're playing some Wings of Glory over here.
Yep.
I didn't know they made that one. Okay.
You go around. You go around. I mean, yeah, they just, you know, like I said, they didn't, it wasn't like it's an entire church.
Pretty nice looking table.
Yeah, dig here. Yeah, they're coming dig here. Yeah. Okay, commanders. Everybody has a commander.
I was thinking 10 millimeter.
Okay, that's your commander. You also roll for him. Now, what he can do though is rather than use it himself, he can use it on one of the other units and not have them be activated on his activated flight.
And these tables are just set up to show off their terrain pieces, it looks like. I see a lot of a closed dealer. Because it's after 7 o'clock, so those are interesting pieces. But yeah, you can make quite a bit by putting together terrain and selling it, because nobody wants to build their own.
End of the thing right there. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, we already got that.
And
The whole snow theme terrain here. Looks like an open
already.
dealership.
Our Discord is for our very very general hobby friendly.
Looks like they're focusing on some beautiful ships here.
We've got a show in California. I have all my
Nice.
Yeah, the way I see it is I want to be a
These are nice.
to my hobby friends. It is
I don't
not
know about the Death Race, sci-fi.
although I do that too. Like I'm gonna like anything
Furniture.
I'm gonna throw on my Discord. So you'll see it there. But again, the goal is for it to be a fun place to hang out, not really like you feel like you're getting some kind of marketing push or something.
Like you're flying ships is kind of cool.
Yeah, so I did that for the Housemans. They're part of a gaming group called STG in Southeast Michigan.
I guess that's
And
Tech
they
Commander.
did 28 millimeter skirmishing on the skies. And they had them actually hanging for
Cool. Super nice. They're also showing off their tablecloths. Got somebody selling jewelry. Okay. What the heck is that? Okay. I like that pond. These are nice. If I can't squeeze behind somebody, there we go. Ooh, look at that. Very Egyptian. That's super cool. Somebody selling a bunch of miniatures here, pre-painted.
literally from my backyard, I can take a rock and throw it into the guys.
Yeah, and I saw these online where they're miniatures in plastic sheets, and then you mount them on a base like that. 18 millimeter French, or there's a starter of some kind. Hey.
I don't know if you're getting a custom flag or a full custom flag.
I guess if you need any flags.
Okay.
And then he wanted 3 of everything. So those 5 cores plus Custer's personal.
Looks like
6 times 3, 18.
Okay.
So
various genres. Another dealer who's closed right now. Wargamers US. Not exactly. Oh, Dust. Okay. Discover Games looks like they're also closed. I mean, I could go on for. Okay, I'm missing a whole row, so let's get back to this row. That's definitely orc. This looks orcish. Ruins. Like a signature piece. Some undead skull options. Those are really cool, actually. I guess that's supposed to be underwater. Maybe if you were in a aquatic game. Another snow. These are nice. Ooh, I like. Believe it or not, I like that piece right there. I know big pieces like this, I'm not really that impressed with. It's that little piece. Okay. That's too bespoke. That's a giant church. I wonder. It does. Tops come off. Okay, that's kind of monstrous. Oh, look at that. A little pond with some waterfall. That's on top of a turtle. All right. All right. There's more of your. This could very easily be Greek. I mean, it really could be. What do we got here? We got fantasy. I want to say like Celtic, maybe. Also some more Celtic because the way the houses look and they're in the snow. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, they got a lot of good terrain here. Like an island map. Okay, that's interesting. I wonder what the tape is for. I bet you there's going to be a tournament and they're going to play a variety of different games on these different tables.
I want to say it's like 6 or 10. 12. Okay, that's good. So he's at.
Age of Sigma? Okay.
That's right.
3 going to M, Greece. 1, 2, run 2.
1, 2, run 2.
Nice. Okay. This piece could use a little work.
Oh, sorry, he's dead. Yeah. Oh, wait, Neil's been asked.
The rest of these look really good.
These types of games.
That's definitely Age of Sigmar style stuff. Observatory, a wizard's tower, pretty cool. More Celtic stuff and ruins, maybe Roman ruins. You got your altars, various altars. Okay.
Well, after you go, you're doing. I'm just looking. That's all.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm just recording everything. Undersea seashells. I don't see a pineapple. Okay, that's a nice little piece right there. A little observatory. I zoom in when I don't need to, and I can just take the camera and hold it forward. Lighting is not the greatest here, so I'm sorry about that. Okay, I wanted to come over here and take a look at this. I wonder where they get these pieces. I don't think they would sculpt them themselves, and I bet you they don't laser. Maybe they laser print them. Maybe they print them. And I'm curious to know, like, all these pieces for sale. I mean, you see these table numbers, but I think those table numbers are for when the tournament starts. What table you'll be on. Oh, look at that. That's a Tower of Set. More Egyptian stuff.
And then
okay, that looks like Middle Earth.
that's because
Mushrooms under the sea or above the sea. Yeah, probably has nothing to do with the sea. Just mushrooms. Now this is more of a traditional fantasy battle map. Roofs come off, floors come off. Very nice. Oh, look at that. It's all wet. Nice. Okay, I wanted to talk about my game that I ran. You didn't get to see it. It was Saturday morning. I ran a game where we had 7 people sign up. I'm playing Battle Group in 15 millimeter. You all know because you're on my channel and you watched me build the board and paint the miniatures and all that. So you know what's going on. Plus you saw me and Mason, or I should say Mason and I, if I want to use proper English, play the game, play test it, work out the bugs, stuff like that for the convention. We timed it to make sure everything would work good. Well, when I got down there, I had my tripod with me. I had my camera with me. I was going to set the tripod up, but I was busy talking about the rules, explaining the rules, and passing out the little flyers and telling them where to set up and basically game master stuff. And so I never set up the camera, so I didn't record the game. And running the game, I didn't really have any time to pull a camera out and record this game for you, and I apologize for that. But again, remember, that's not why I went down there. I didn't go down there to record everything. I went down there to play everything. Okay, so we had a good amount of gameplay. Everybody loved it. There was no misunderstandings. There was some confusion about the heroic tests, because if you have a heroic test, there's a chance for your squad to get up and do something right in the middle of the opponent's turn. And one of the players was a little confused about that. But then again, he's fresh to the game, so he didn't understand what was going on, which I just had to explain to him. It happens. Don't worry about it. The Germans won. The Americans lost. The Americans did a little bit better than what I did with Mason, but not much. The Germans had put the artillery on the bridge or right in front of the bridge, and it just devastated anybody that tried to come across the bridge. So I'm thinking, and with 2 games under my belt, watching mine and the convention, watching these players attempt to get across the battlefield, one of 2 things, well, maybe 2 things, maybe 3 things. I don't know. I'm going to have to work on adjusting that scenario in a way to give the Americans a chance to win. I had already made one adjustment, and that was the causeway. You only rolled once at the end of every movement on the causeway, and not after each movement action, because you get 2 actions per move, and if you double move. And I didn't want them rolling twice. Okay, so I said, okay, right there, I'm halving it. And then if they fail, instead of making it a D3 casualties, I made it just a 1 casualty. And that still wasn't enough nerfing, right? Because the water was also, instead of a D3, I went to a 1. And on the causeway, I only did a 1 and only once after each move. So the causeway and the water was just too much of a slowing action. It was too bogged down for the Americans to get anywhere near the German positions. So I'm going to have to nerf that as well. Either the water feature or shrink the map in a way. Maybe instead of an 8-foot map, make it on a 6-foot scale. That would have allowed them to be about a foot closer, which still is not on the German side. So I don't know if that's what I need to do, or if I need to. And the 1 casualty for walking in the water, I think is fine, but I think it needs to be a 1 die roll at the end of the move, and not the entire move, right? Because you could roll 2 dice and roll 2 ones and only move 2 inches. Or you could roll 2 dice, roll 2 sixes, move 10 inches, but take 2 casualties. And I don't know if I like that. I think they should just be allowed to move 10 and then roll the die to see if they take a casualty. So at least they will never slow down. They'll just keep moving. But I don't know. It's supposed to try to keep them on the causeway. So if I want to allow that, if I want to keep them on the causeway, again, they're only getting 1 die roll at the end of 2 moves for 1 casualty. I'm also saying that they don't have to roll until they get within 30 inches of a German position. So it gives them about a foot of the causeway that they don't have to roll on. That was another nerf, which I like that nerf. I think that one was okay. But if I make it so that the causeway is not as deadly as the water is, then it would be more appealing. Okay, now the downside to that is the pre-plotted artillery is just, it can be placed on the causeway in a perfect position to just devastate anybody that tries to use the causeway. And artillery is just way too powerful in this game. Not if it deviates. If artillery deviates, then there's a chance it won't. And if you have to have your FO to call it in, that's fine. But the Germans have this pre-plotted spot where they don't have to call it in. It doesn't deviate. It always strikes right there. I think that's too powerful, so I think I'm going to nerf the artillery. Either, I think I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll share that with you as the future videos on my World War II projects continue on. But other than that, everybody had a good time, and let's go ahead and show you some of the video from after my game.
So who's got this massive troops over here?
This is me.
Yeah, that's it. All right, so we're ready to go.
All right, this is a rapid fire game. We're starting. Looks like Joe Collins is going to be running it. It's kind of an unusual setup, and then it's got two tables kind of in a figure 8, and I'll show you here in just a second. Models are beautiful, terrain, scenery is beautiful. Let's take a look.
Yeah, also with this one, we've done like battle for it, like different games.
You do have that
I mean, infantry getting out, walking through the field, pretty covered. Realistically speaking.
I don't know. You were an MVP.
All right, over here, guys. Everybody hang on. They're going to turn one over.
That's a big deal.
Okay.
So as soon as you're done with turn one,
It is meaning you're playing against a bunch of chumps.
That's true.
It just means
the range for this is
I'll take that. I'll take it.
So like his tank.
Matter of fact, some of my favorite.
All right, now this next video that's coming up is Joe Collins. I've known him for years. He's playing a rapid fire game in 20 millimeter. It's D-Day. I was playing the Germans. We're the 21st Panzer. We're trying to push the British and Canadians back into the beaches. He had two tables set up, but they weren't side by side like this. They were kind of like this, you know, two tables that were connected in a corner, which I thought was pretty cool. It gave a different, you know, like, it gave like a different, technically what I understand, but at the end of the game, what he was saying was those were two different battles, and he just went ahead and put them together so that we could play them all simultaneously. So basically he was running two tables. There was like a battalion of troops on each side, on each table, approximately, which I don't really know much about rapid fire, but it's basically on the same scale as command decision, where a stand or two figures is basically a platoon. So I had two companies, which means I had two half tracks, one for each company, and about 10 or 12 guys in the platoon or in the company, and that would represent all the platoons, right? And I was on the very far right of the table, and I moved in, took the church, was getting ready to take the second half of the town. This guy immediately to my left was also playing infantry, and he came up through the woods and hit the left side of the town. It was a pretty well coordinated attack, even though he and I didn't communicate. We didn't really discuss anything. We just intuitively, we both attacked and were very successful. Okay, so we basically, he and I, with another player, playing a tank battalion. Maybe it was a tank company, tank battalion. It's probably a battalion because he had like 12 tanks. They were basically forced to move across this open field and shoot up onto this ridge. I don't remember what the ridge is called. It was Perrier Ridge or something like that. And there was a bunch of British Fireflies and Shermans up there. And there was casualties on both sides. It was hectic. A lot of them, they didn't really have to run away because they were dead. But we finally got the British in the town to rout. And so they disappeared. We basically took our entire table, and then it was up to our second half, the other table, and I think they got at least 2/3 of that table. I think we won handedly. I think we won very well. Okay, but I didn't record every turn. When there was an opportunity, I would grab my camera and kind of walk around. So just kind of take it with a grain of salt. But before I get started, there's something I want to say about the player that was sitting immediately to my left. If you're watching this video, know that I'm talking about you. I don't know his name, didn't ask him his name. So me and this other guy had played in my game earlier that day. He's a very nice guy. We talked about miniatures. He showed me his phone. He showed me a bunch of 15 millimeter Battlefront miniatures that he painted, and he paints really well. And he had antennas, on his radios, just like I did, and he complimented me for having my antenna on my tank. He's a very nice guy. So we were sitting there, we were talking about different rule sets. He didn't know anything about rapid fire. He was asking me about it. I don't know anything about it really. I got it confused with crossfire, so whatever. But we're basically sitting there, and then when Joe Collins came around, the game master, when he came around and he said, "Hey, you guys are going to be over here. What do you guys want to do?" I said, "Joe, I see you don't have any way to measure. You have no rulers. Do you want me to go grab my tape measure?" And he was like, "Please, because I don't have enough to go around." And so I said, "Okay, no problem." So I ran out to the car, and I came back. And when I came back, one of the other players had taken my chair, right? Which I wasn't in it. I get it. You just grab the chair. You grab an empty chair and you sat down in it. Okay, cool. So I understand that. I make a comical, offhanded, comment. I say, "Oh, you stole my chair." Not meaning to be rude or trying to just be in jest, right? Just like, "Oh man, you stole my chair." Not like, "Hey man, you stole my chair." No, it wasn't even like that. I just walked up and said, "Oh man, you stole my chair." And he looked up at me and he gave me this look that was like daggers in my eyes. And he said, "No man, this is my chair." And I was like, "Dude, whoa, aggressive." I said, "Okay, no worries, whatever." And I went and grabbed one of the other 100 chairs in the place, right? And then that was the beginning of our relationship. He was the guy sitting to my left. I was the guy sitting to the right. We were the ones attacking the town. We had a wall. We didn't talk. We didn't communicate. It was nothing. This is the word I have for him, if he's watching. If he's not watching, he's never going to know this, because I didn't sit there and pull him to the side and, put my 1911 in his stomach and say, "Hey, get a grip." No, I didn't do that. That's not me. So what I would say to him would be, "You're probably 18 years old, maybe 20, right?" He's like 18 or 20 years old. He has and I could tell this throughout the game because I could hear the way he communicated with his counterparts on the other side of the table, and with the guys sitting around us. He has this attitude that he knows what's going on and you don't, which is true. I didn't know what was going on, but he had that attitude with everybody. And it's okay to have that attitude, but don't emote that attitude in the game, right? To the people. I'm superior to you. You are a lesser being. That's what I got from him. And then it started, that whole thought process started, and I'm talking to you if you're watching this. It started with you looking up at me and saying, no, dude, this is my chair. First of all, I'm probably 3 times his age, you know, and I'm going to pull the age card out. I personally, as a 20-year-old, would never, and even today, as a 90-year-old, that's not how old I am, but even today, if there was an elder, and he could be 5, 10 years older than me, not 100 years, you know, he can't be 3 times my age, because, you know, we're human beings, but if there was somebody there that has been wargaming before I was born, I wouldn't have an attitude towards this person. I wouldn't disrespect him. What I would have done if I was, let's say I sat down, I went across the hall, grabbed a chair, brought it back, put it at the table, and this older gentleman, older than me, walked up and said, oh man, I can't find a chair. I would stand up and say, have my chair. I think it has a lot to do with who your parents are, and not, or your friends, or the people you hang out with, or the culture you absorb through media or whatever. I feel like I have old school morality, old school manners, and this guy had none. Okay, sorry. Let's take a look at the game.
Bells are going to ring, mass is going to let out, and all the British people are going to pour out into the courtyard and butcher us.
That's a communication.
No. Here they come.
I got 11 points going on you.
Oh, that's a throwback. That's beautiful.
Guys, sorry. Indian Gamer.
So you guys going to sweep towards the handicap?
No! Yeah, that's my new plan. We're actually winning.
That's more like it.
All right, let's go.
It helps to have reinforcements come on.
Okay,
See how long I survived the return fire.
Got 11 points coming at you in the soft cover.
Oh, God.
Where is it happening?
Yeah, here we go.
Right here?
Yeah, these guys in the church shoot back at you guys.
Okay.
So 11 points.
Oh, my God.
I keep rolling ones. I can't kill these Germans, you know, in the open.
It keeps bouncing off the walls.
It's a 1.
Ken, you need to shoot the Germans with your troops.
Well, we don't do so good against tanks.
You
Well, you got some infantry in the woods there. You
better.
Tank line,
over there.
devastated the ridge. I dropped some smoke in front of a firefly to keep it
Actually,
from
fighting
shooting.
run away here.
As they say.
There's still a bunch of troops in the
You
town.
can fire and then move. You can fire all your shots
I'm gonna
and go away.
Yeah, but they have to take a blue penalty.
I got 8 points going at short range in the woods.
Should be a roll.
Minus 1, roll 4 dice and subtract 1 for each dice.
4 dice and subtract 1.
So that sucks. That's a 2, that's a 5. 8 points in table 4.
Looks like a soma.
Kill 2. 3 guys die in the building. Now, unfortunately, you're down only 2. Keep it on the road. 2 mortar rounds. That's okay. Yeah, you took them out. So, yeah. All right. So that's casualty.
I'm over here shooting at 6-inch range into this building.
Yes. You did you move?
I did.
It doesn't matter. Maybe about one or two, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So now I go to the part where I'm
more dead guys.
where I'm 10 points in each table for.
Okay.
Yeah, I suggest this guy 100 times to make the points equal to the size of the gun.
Yeah.
Just adjust his charge.
And the vehicles count too as 3 guys.
No, only the infants.
Any vehicles with them.
Oh god! Yeah, the fix.
There's one vehicle, and there's
3.
You get -1 for hardcover.
Yeah, 3. We're gonna. There's one man with a Vickers in there left. So.
Well, he said it was -1 with a hardcover, so.
I said that. I don't think that's a real rule.
No, he said it.
Did he? All right.
That was
When I was shooting with those guys.
You could always minus
two
one
guys.
hardcover on the effect on an HE round.
Because he goes.
So there's one.
When you hit
one less.
Oh,
down
wait.
the-
All right. So.
No, horse 6. No,
Yeah,
the attack
but-
building absorbs 2 casualties before they take casualties. But after 2
They also
casualties,
get a
blown up.
-1 on the chart too.
Yeah.
So what?
They get a -1 on the chart too.
Always, yes. Always.
Okay, so we got a 5.
Which is still 3 because there's 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those kills one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the roof comes off the building. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's rolling from now
I see
on.
how it works. All right. So boom.
Shoot.
I mean, that was my last cannon shell. So. That's it.
Oh no, we're out of ammo. The Germans are out of ammo over here.
I got 2 shots.
What is, by the way, I don't remember history books where in World War II where the Germans lost because they ran out of ammo. They were usually dead before then. Come on now, let's be honest.
The Brits are having trouble today, though. Give us some slack.
Hey Joe, what are the objectives over here? What are we supposed
Okay, so the convention's over. I have some swag here. I want to show it off to you. It's nothing super grandiose or anything like that, but I just want to bring it up, hold it up, and let you see it. I played a game on Friday night with a bunch of my friends, and we had a good time. We blew a lot of people up. The rules weren't that complicated. They were handwritten the night before, it seems like, and it was a World War I game, ground game, which I'm totally not into. But I could get into it. I mean, it was very fun. I really enjoyed myself. But World War I as a period just doesn't really excite me. So, but I thought because all my friends are playing it, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to play it. We all had a good time. Jägermeister was going around. We're all having a good time. So at the end of the game, the game master had a bag of coins, and he gave everybody a coin. And I don't know where this coin came from. It looks like it's got Lenin on the front. Maybe you can't see that, but it's got like Lenin. You can pause the video and try to read that writing. And then on the back side, it looks like it has Athena, but it says 1942. Maybe that's 42. Maybe that's 1912. But it looks like 1942, and it says 1 penny, and it's got Athena sitting on a rock or something with her spear. That's kind of what it looks like. It looks like Athena. I mean, it's a trident, so maybe that's Poseidon. But it looks like a girl. But maybe that's Poseidon. It's got a Corinthian helmet, all the way up with a... Yeah. I don't know. Is it Greek? Because some of the lettering in the front looks like it's in Latin, but it says Georgius de Gra Britamen Rex. Hold on. Fid Def End Imp. Okay, so I don't know what it is, but it's cool. It's cool. Whatever. I don't know where it came from. Okay, and then when I was playing a game, some guy walked around and was giving everybody that he could find that wanted a copy Wargames Illustrated. This looks like July of this year, 2022. Issue 415. It talks about Partisan in May, best tables and stuff. And it talks about Lion Rampant 2nd edition, which I think is okay. And then the 100 Hours game, which is kind of like if you remember that old SPI game called Commando, it reminds me of that, where it's a man-to-man game, but you're being very sneaky and stealthy, and you're trying to do like a commando mission. I think that's what that game reminds me of, but it's 28 millimeters. And then there's Soldiers of Napoleon, so they're talking about that rule set, which is a rule set I just got. This looks like it's going to be a good... I haven't even looked through it, so I just grabbed it and took it and ran. But apparently, they shipped this guy the wrong month. So, like he might have ordered August, but they shipped him a ton of Julys. And then when he told them and showed them, hey, you sent me the wrong month, they told him, just keep them, we'll send you the right month. And so he said, well, if you're just going to give them to me, I'm going to give them away. And that's what happened. I'm the beneficiary of a mistake. Okay. Okay, so that was a couple of gifts. Plus, we got our little Nashcon badge, which I broke because I'm an idiot. I moved my arm and it pulled on the cord, and it pulled the cord out, so I had to jury rig something. I clipped the strap into the thing. Yeah, but I broke it. And they ran out of space for my name, so it was like running off the paper. Okay, so I saw that they had these, right? This is Epic French Commanders, right? Okay, Epic French Commanders. Doing math in my head. I went ahead and got them because instead of me having to order directly from Games Workshop, Warlord Games, and having them deliver these to me, and then me putting a big order in to satisfy their minimum orders to get this, I said, you know what, I'm willing just to pay a little premium on these guys. So I paid $19. $19 for 5 cavalry commanders, right? Cavalry figures. They're on horses. And these are the Warlord resin. Yeah. Okay, it has Ney, which I've already built. It has a Cuirassier commander, which is just another general for me. But it has Kellerman, which I already mounted. But it does have Napoleon and D'Erleron, which I don't have. So I figured it was a win. So there's at least 3 models in here that I could definitely use. And I can always put Ney and Kellerman on a base and use them for some other general. That's not a problem. I can name them something else, depending on how they look and, whatever. So these did not come with any bases. Can you believe it? There's no 30 millimeter base or 20 by 20 or whatever their cavalry bases are. There's none of them in this box. There's 5 little resin miniatures. And when I say little, I mean they're tiny. But the reason why I got them, the primary reason why I got these was to compare them to my 15 millimeter miniatures so that I could see if I could use these with my 15 millimeter armies. Commanders are not in units. They're kind of a separate piece. So if they're just a little bit off scale, it's okay. And then but the reason why I wanted to see how close they were was because I was thinking about maybe getting some cavalry from them to field. But if I'm paying $20 for 5 figures or $4 a figure, that's not going to be good in a large cavalry unit, right? Because I know you get 20 cavalry in a pack, but I think they're only like $30. I think. So that's only like $1.50 a cav fig, which I can live with, right? So I'll have to figure out the math on that. But if the math gets outrageous, then I'll just stick with my Old Glory. But then I saw these. See, I'd already paid for those, walked away. And when I was walking away, I glanced over at the table and I saw these. This is Prussian Commanders. And this is the pack I was looking for. I wasn't looking for that pack, but I got it because I thought, you know, hey, if they got it, I'm going to take it. I'm going to get, they had the Allied one as well, but I didn't really want either of those. I didn't want the Allied or the French. I wanted the Prussian one, but I didn't see the Prussian one. I saw the French one. So I bought the French one, thinking, okay, I'm going to use this as my scale comparison. But then when I walked by and I saw they had the Prussian one, I said, you know what? I'm just going to grab the Prussian one as well, right? And this has got Blucher and Gneisenau. It's got Perch, von Zeiten, and von Bülow, which are all Waterloo characters, you know. They're not Quatre Bras characters, but I could probably, and I was thinking about this later, I could probably use von Bülow and von Zeiten as my Brunswick generals. Hey, if they're the right scale. So we're going to take a look at these in an upcoming video where I do a what's in the box. So let's take a look at those in a what's in the box, and I will compare them with some 15mm Old Glory just to get a general idea. You already had seen me do a video on the Urwart's Eagle figure, which seems like it's almost exactly the same as my 15mm cavalry. But when I opened the, and I did this at the convention site, I opened this French one, they feel like they're a little bit smaller. And I also noticed they didn't come with any bases, which is good for me because I put them on round bases and Black Powder puts on square bases. Okay, and that was all of my swag. I didn't really get a whole lot of swag. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and come back and check out some more what's in the boxes. Now that my World War II game has been run, I had gone to the convention, I can really crack down on my Napoleonic rules, and I can start painting exclusively my Napoleonic figures, at least till I get Quatre Bras painted. And I spread the word, you know, not to everybody, but I told a lot of people I'm writing a Napoleonic rule set, and that I am a commission painter and basically stuff like that. So next time I go, I think what I'm going to do is get some advertisement done, maybe in the program, but also on my body. I think I'm going to have like maybe some t-shirts made with Wargaming in miniature on there, and then let them know that it's not only a store but also a YouTube channel and stuff like that. And I thought about making like little flyers or business cards to pass around, but that's not the purpose of this visit. This visit to Nashcon was really for me to play. All right, guys. I guess I'll see you in the next video.